the voice is an amazing instrument. When you take a breath, your lungs fill with air, and that air comes up through this blue tube right here, which is the trachea. And at the top, you have these two folds of muscle and tissue referred to as the vocal folds. Oftentimes, we refer to them as vocal cords more popularly, but they are folds of muscle and tissue. So I put it up there, so if you get confused later, you'll go, what? What are the vocal folds? Oh, yeah, it's on the PowerPoint. They come together hundreds of times a second. Hundreds of times a second. For a female, the average is about 200 times a second. For the male, it's about 100 times a second. It's amazing. That movement of the vocal folds creates the first layer of the speech sound. Then it moves up through the green area up here, through the resonating chambers of the mouth, the nose, the throat, and we change those chambers by how we hold our tongue, even how we move the back of our throat. Now, for some sounds, the vocal folds move together, and for some of them, they stay apart. To best illustrate this, let's think of the two sounds S and Z. So if all of you put your hands on your throat, right about if you're a guy where your Adam's apple would be, a little higher, if you're a female where it would be. When you swallow, it should move. Everyone say the sound. Good, excellent, you guys are good, very good S's. You don't need speech therapy for that. Next, keep your hand there, and I want you to all go zzz, make the Z sound. Right. You should feel some buzzing with the Z and not with the S. Those sounds are the same except for the movement of your vocal folds for the Z. Very cool. Now, speech and also singing are arguably the most complex motor task the body completes. To illustrate this, let's think about the word bathtub. Try saying it, bathtub. Right, under a second, happens in under a second. For the B, your lips come together, your voice turns on, and your tongue stays flat on the floor of your mouth. For the A, your mouth has to come open, your tongue has to come down and get kind of tense, your voice stays on. For the sound, your tongue comes out between your teeth, your voice turns off. By doing that, your vocal folds have to open. For the T, your tongue comes up into a point, hits the back of your front teeth, and the voice stays off. For the your tongue comes down to the flat bottom of your mouth opens again, your voice turns on, and for the B, your lips have to close to finish the word. One word, under a second. Now think about what it does for a sentence, a conversation. Amazing. Now, very few of us walk around and say bathtub on one pitch, right? We modulate the pitch of our voices to make speech. Bathtub. So for the higher pitch, while those vocal folds are coming together hundreds of times a second, they actually come together a few more times for the higher pitch. And for the the lower pitch, they come together less frequently. And at the same time that's happening, for the higher pitches, they stretch and become thinner, a little tighter. For the lower pitches, they become looser and floppier. The best way to think about this, I think, is thinking about the strings on a guitar or another stringed instrument. How like the higher pitched strings are tighter and they're thinner when you look at them, and the lower pitched strings are a little fatter and they're floppier if you were to pluck them. Amazing. All that happens. Now think about if you were to sing. Bathtub. Do like a pitch glide. Not only do you do all those things that your tongue and your voice has to do, but you also have to kind of modulate between all those pitches and make all those adjustments to have a fluid sound to your voice. Crazy. Now another thing that the vocal folds can do, they can create tone. So if I were to go, bathtub, a little whispery, my vocal folds allow a little air to escape through. It could be a little sexy, bathtub. Hello, welcome to the bathtub. I can also use the structures that surround my vocal folds to make a rough sound. Bathtub, bathtub, I'm feeling great pain today. Bathtub. Hey boss, I can't come into work today. I'm really sick. I fell in the bathtub. Okay? It's crazy. So talking about how complicated the system is, it stands to reason that many things can go wrong. I haven't even talked about all the neurological and the brain stuff that happens, but we have under 18 minutes, so it's not going to happen. But if you could just imagine all those things that have to happen to create speech. Now for singing, your voice has to elongate the vowels, hopefully minimize your consonants. But what I like to tell my patients and the voice students that I work with is that your speaking voice and your singing voice, they're the same instrument. It's the human body. So anything that you put into your body, that you do to your body, how much sleep you get, how much water you drink, what you eat, your nutrition, that affects your voice. Any medical conditions you have often come through, and for some medical conditions, the first sign that something is wrong is in the human voice. And sometimes people have to use voice for their work. Often they have to use voice for their work. If you talk on the phone, even if you're a server at a restaurant, you have to speak over all that background noise. And when people lose their voices, they lose that ability to make income. I had a patient once say to me, you know, my voice is okay. I'm not the best singer in the world. You know, she had a diagnosed voice disorder. And she said, I'm not the best singer in the world. I just love to sing in the choir. But it is my livelihood. And I would do anything to get it back. Singing, even if we think we're terrible, it's something that we often take for granted. And as a speech pathologist, I've had the good fortune to join with some of these people on the journey to try to get their voices back. Try to get them back. And music, the voice has the ability to make music. This is truly, truly an amazing, amazing thing. Music surrounds us. It's in the restaurants where we go to eat. It's the background of our commercials. It helps us to buy things. There's that one song in the SPCA commercial that makes people want to give money when you see the poor puppy dogs, and it wouldn't be the same without that vocal music in the background. It wouldn't. Especially vocal music. And the cool thing that I think about this is that they don't really know why. We don't really know why music affects us so much. They can do brain scans, and they see that certain areas of your brain light up when you speak and when you sing, when you create music, and when you listen to music, but they don't really know why. And I work in the medical community, and I like not knowing why. I like that. I like that mystery. I like thinking about that and wondering why and not knowing. Yet, even though vocal music is so pervasive in our culture and so important, in fact, pretty much every human culture uses the human voice in their music in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't stop us from being judgmental about voices. The plethora of reality singing shows is evidence enough for how much we kind of like to sit back in our living rooms and say, she has a good voice. He has a bad voice. His voice is too breathy. His voice is too rough. He sounds like an opera singer. He sounds like too country. Right, but so much of listening to singers has to do with personal taste and opinion, right? For some of us, the beauty in the form of a singer may come in the form of Mozart. Others, it's Metallica. It is. We differ so much in how we hear the human voice. The documentary which inspired this TED Talk is A Place at the Table, as we all know. Well, I would put out there that I think most of us would want that table to not only be filled with good food, but good conversation, with laughter, with singing, with song. And I say let that table not be silent. And the next time you use your voice to speak to your friend, your loved one, or to sing, whether it be in front of an audience or in your shower, I hope that you can appreciate your voice for the amazing instrument it is. Even though, we may think and we may listen to our voices and say, I'm not the best singer, I'm a little off key. We're so judgmental of our own voices. You know, I hope that after today, some of you can appreciate your own voice for the amazing, amazing instrument it truly is. And I'm going to ask all of you to help me in finishing up this talk. We're going to all hum on this note. Good. Keep it going. Keep it going. You can keep listening while you hum. Excellent job. So the ladies and the people who are singing up here, your vocal folds are vibrating together 311 times a second. Lower note, if you guys want to sing. 5.6 times a second. Okay? I want you to keep it going. If you feel like you want to drop out, that's okay. Those of you who like to sing, I encourage you to keep going through the whole song.